Mitch Light of The Athletic is every Monday at noon, about 9-10 months out of the year. In the fall, it's college football, national scene, national level. And remember, college football lasts until the end of January. Once we hit the spring, it is college baseball. Mitch does college baseball, their top 25, their football and weekend in review. He does college baseball for The Athletic in Review. Joining us, he is back again. Mitch Light of The Athletic on the Deep Land Services Hotline. Mitch, my brother, how are you doing? How's your world, man?
It's good. Can't say a lot has changed. I think it's only been about 3 or 4 weeks, but all is good. As I imagine it is in your parts, it's hot as you know what around here in Nashville. So I could use a little football weather, put it that way.
Now, okay, hey, it's been like 6 or 7 weeks. It hasn't been 3 because, we talked until, a week after the College World Series. So I know it only feels like 3 weeks. I mean, that's how much you missed me. I understand that part of it, but it's been a while. I was thinking of you.
Okay. I'll give you that. Yeah, it has. It has. But yes, all is well. Just gearing up just for football season, as I'm sure you are. And things are good.
We now have the two unofficially official polls to kick off the season with the AP and the coaches. So that's how I know we're ready. What else do we need?
We need actual games, but as you said, gives us something else to talk about.
2 Saturdays. We have week 0, which this is how it got for me last week. I got so fired up, I actually looked up the week 0 schedule.
It's not awful, and it's later than usual, too, just the way the calendar works this year, because it's always, week 1's Labor Day, and Labor Day is later than usual. So, but TCU, North Carolina, in Ireland is intriguing. I don't know how good of a football game it's going to be, but it's 2 Power 5 teams. It's Bill Belichick. It's not Mike Lombardi there. And this, is Stanford, Hawaii. Is that week 0 as well, I think?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, definitely some intriguing games.
The first game and last game, I will admit, having, because of course, 11 a.m. down in Dublin, and we get UNC TCU. But the last game of the night is that G6, and it's Memphis UNLV.
Very important game for 2 teams that could be in position to grab the G6 playoff bid. Nothing like strengthening your resume with a good non-conference win, and I think we all want to see more games like that. Good G6 teams playing each other out of league. Memphis with Charles Huff, the well-traveled Charles Huff, who was over at Southern Miss 1 year, did a great job at Marshall. Former James Franklin assistant at several stops there, and obviously Dan Mullen, former SEC head coach, at 2 stops at UNLV. So, yeah, definitely an intriguing game.
So this morning, The Athletic, which you happen to own, you run, you're the head of.
Don't own it, don't run it, but I work here, but go ahead.
Are you sure about that?
100% sure.
Okay. The Athletic, which you're a pretty big deal at, this morning released their SEC preview. And, I have been fascinated by it because I would say The Athletic has the most unique predictions of any other source.
Okay. Now, it's Stu Mandel, one of our writers. It's his predictions. It's not an Athletic. I'm not defending or praising Stu's picks. It's, again, it's not something official, like we didn't put out an Athletic preview mag, and these are our predictions. So I'd be happy to talk about them, but I don't feel like I need to defend anything Stu has done because, again, they're his predictions.
Wait, when does The Athletic have their official predictions?
We don't.
What?
We don't.
You guys don't do official predictions?
No, we have writers who make their predictions, like Stu. Bruce Feldman does sometimes. Sam Kahn did his own top 25, but we do not have an official. I don't think we ever have. So,
dang.
Like most publications, if you put out a magazine like there's an Athlon Sports, we have predictions on this stuff. But a lot of, I don't think ESPN has predictions. They had like Kirk Herbstreit had some predictions out over the weekend, stuff like that. So individual people do. A lot of media companies, online media companies, don't necessarily have staff predictions.
Well,
some do, some don't.
I think CBS and ESPN do, but they have all
Okay.
10 of their people do it so that one of them will always be right and you can point to it.
Yeah. Okay. If I misspoke there or whatever, just and I'm trying to think if we've done it in the past. We have staff predictions coming out where we've done a top 25, which is everyone does their own top 25, and we do a poll like this, but we haven't had conference predictions. So I'm probably contradicting myself as I keep talking. So let's get to your question.
Fair enough. He has Texas over Oklahoma, and Texas is the SEC champ. And it's the first time I've not seen someone jump on the Georgia bandwagon, because most of what I've seen, they've just got Georgia either winning or losing, but Georgia almost has a lock for the SEC title game.
I like Texas. Texas would be my pick to win the league. I've seen some, not backlash, just recent, like what was Texas number 5 in the AP poll that was literally, just released a half hour ago.
Yeah.
People were surprised they're that low. So yeah, I've seen a lot of Georgia. I've seen some Texas. Georgia, we want to talk about the individual teams now. I think Georgia's obviously going to be very good on defense. Their big playability on offense concerns me a little bit. They've got very good tight ends. I kind of like the Oklahoma bandwagon. I don't think I'd pick him to make the championship game like Stu is, but I see where he's coming from. I think a lot of the Oklahoma prediction or the Oklahoma love basically comes down to, do you think that John Mateer was hurt a lot last year? Well, he was hurt. Will he be being healthy year 2 at Oklahoma be a huge difference? Now, it's not year 2 like in the system, because obviously he came with his offensive coordinator from Washington State, but they really upgraded at wide receiver. They've got some good options at wide receiver, so I do kind of like that Oklahoma pick.
Yeah, the year 2 thing, I think, is more important for his OC than it is for him, because the OC is supposed to be, brilliant. He's supposed to be like an offensive Norman Einstein kind of guy. So what he learned is more important than what Mateer learned to take his offense into the SEC.
I think it's speed of the game too. In year 2, I think it's a little bit of everything, and it's just like I said. And I don't know where I fall on this, because like the sample size before the injury, he was good. He wasn't great, but there's no doubt he was not at full strength of his hand when he came back there. So, and one thing, like big picture, like as I was looking at some stuff before I came on, you want to say, oh, their schedule's difficult, but it's not the cop out. It's so difficult in this era with these conferences so big to talk about how tough a schedule is. We can look on paper and say, yeah, they've got 5 AP top 25 to whatever. They got to go on the road and play so-and-so. But it's so outside of a few teams, we really don't know how anyone's going to be. So the strength of these schedules can change so much from now until October, November. In fact, I saw Bill Connolly, I don't know if he just tweeted about it or it was one of the stories this weekend from ESPN. It's like, can we please, this won't be the case because we have to talk about everything, but can we please not talk about the strength of schedule until early November, because we really don't know.
No, of course we can't. Look, if that was the case, then we should have no preseason polls, but yet there's 20 of them. And then we should cancel the CFP committee shows. But that's ratings. That's money for ESPN. So
I get,
nope, and nope.
I get my point was more that I decided that I'm not going to let schedules affect too much my thoughts on a team in the preseason. Like if I were going to make my SEC predictions this afternoon, I would probably just go with like a power rating, how good I think the teams were, and not say, well, I think Ole Miss is the 5th best team, but their schedule's easy. That's not the case, so I'm going to move them up to 2, because I think that's where you get yourself in trouble, is trying to forecast before the season how difficult a team's schedule is and let that affect your opinion of that team.
I'll tell you something that's affected me as much as strength of schedule. I have been seeing a narrative for about 3 to 4 weeks now, because I guess once someone writes a popular article, everyone else has to get their version of it out there. But college football offenses are going back old school. Tempo is dead. Defenses have caught up. Have you seen that? Have you noticed that?
Yeah, well, I thought Bill Connolly had a really good story late last week about trends in college football, and that was one of them, too. Ohio State famously, I don't know if a lot of people realized it until late in the year, they were the second slowest team in college football. And it kind of goes against conventional wisdom, because if you've got the best team, you want the most plays in theory, because, just the more plays, you can assert your dominance more. One interesting thing about that, which I hadn't thought about, but it makes sense, is teams going for, and part of the story too was how there's less drives in the game. Teams are going slower, and there's less offensive possession. And part of that is because teams are going for it on fourth down more and having greater success. So just think about it. If you're going for it on fourth down more, that's going to prolong your drive, so there's fewer drives in the game. So I hadn't thought about it in those terms, but it's interesting. Like if in years past it was 4th and 3 from your own 40, 95% of coaches were kicking, and that changes the possession. So yeah, I have seen that. It's a narrative, but it's true. There are fewer possessions in college football in the last few years.
Yeah, scoring efficiency is still as high. It's just a different version, if I understand the total summation of it all.
Yeah, it's just there's fewer drives, so teams are being efficient with those drives, but there's just fewer of the drives, so scoring is down a little bit, basically.
Yeah, and you've had Kirby Smart talking, going back to early spring, about going back to old school Georgia. I mean, he wants to slow down. He wants to double tight, and he wants to limit Governor Stockton to not hurt them whatsoever.
Yeah, it's very cyclical, the game is. When Nick Saban famously said in early 2010s about, is this what we want the game to be? And then he hired Lane Kiffin and started running those offenses.
He made sure it was.
Yeah. You see some of those offenses with good teams running them, and you're like, how is anyone going to stop these? But defenses evolve. Teams got smaller. They had less linebackers on the field, more defensive backs. That's what makes football great. It's just everyone's evolving, usually dictated by offenses, and then defenses evolve after that, and we're seeing some of that. So if we see more teams playing kind of smash-mouth football, will defenses adjust? I'm sure they will. Will they go back and get bigger? Will they, or will the linebackers be more important now than they've been the last few years?
For me, watching, I get outsider, but watching it, what you end up happening is the cycle becomes so prevalent that you start to have bad schools running these systems, and it drags the numbers down. You have schools that don't have the personnel running these fad systems or whatever the cycle is, and should it. And then all the numbers start getting dragged down. But on the high-end, elite end, they can still do it. They still have the personnel to do it. It's just that when it becomes normal, all the numbers get dragged down.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there. I think sometimes when you have less personnel, you'll be less personnel. When you have weaker personnel, you need sort of a gimmick, and that's sort of what the theory of the option is. Our Army and Navy, Air Force, they are never going to have the athleticism, the size that most other college teams do, so they do something differently. And that's, in the early 2000s, Northwestern was one of the few teams, they started running that read option, up-tempo, and they had a lot of success with it. So you see sometimes your teams, again, at the lower end of the food chain trying to do things differently, where a school like Georgia is just going to say, we have more talent than you, we are bigger, stronger, we are going to run our offense and do it the way we want. Now, that's true in some cases, but then we just talked about how Nick Saban went up-tempo in the 2000s, did the teams, and they had as much or more talent than anyone. So it's hard to make general statements like, yes, the better teams are doing it or the weaker teams are doing it. That's what's another great thing about college football. There's 138 teams now, and there's not 138 different offenses, but there's a lot of different ways you can move the football.
Mitch Light of The Athletic is back, and he's back with us on the D4 Land Services. It's a Monday thing here on the Louie Bellina Show on the Zone. Here you go, Mitch. This is what I've always kind of boiled it down to. It almost doesn't matter what works during the regular season. Obviously, it has to win, but for these For the elite of the elite programs, what's going to work when you get the CFP? Everyone has a $40 million roster. Everyone has elite talent on both sides. Everyone has their 10 plus 14 NFL draft picks. That's what the question ends up really being.
Yeah, and that's kind of new to college football because we have not had a prolonged postseason except the last 2 years. We had a 14 playoff, but that was basically an extension of the regular season. And so it's sort of like in college basketball. how the game changes in the NCAA tournament. It becomes slower. We don't have enough evidence yet. There's not enough data in the college football, in the 12-team college football playoff. Ole Miss kind of ran a up-tempo-ish, offense, and they made it to the semifinals. Miami was very, very old school. Mario Cristobal run the ball. Indiana was pretty much like that too. So, bottom line, it comes down to talent, but obviously system matters and the ability to play different teams, a different style from week to week. Again, because you're gonna have to win 3 or 4 games to win a national championship, so you've got to be able to adjust and have the personnel to play different styles.
Yeah, and I think when Saban changed, he changed because he kept running into Clemson and other teams that even against
Ole Miss too.
Yeah,
Ole Miss in the regular season. Remember, it was Hugh Freeze that beat him 2 years in a row.
Well, Johnny Manziel.
Yeah. So he realized that it's not just about talent. It's sometimes you can get beat by a scheme, and you got to have both. It's obvious statement. It's not just about coaching. It's not just about talent. For the most part, if you're Alabama or of that era, or Georgia or Texas, whatever, talent can get you by in 10 out of your 12 games, but you gotta out coach some people too, and that's where scheme comes in.
Mitch, let's grab a quick timeout. I can't believe it. You're back, and time's already flying, brother.
Sounds good.
Mitch Light of The Athletic on the D4 Land Services hotline. He's back. We'll be talking every Monday, college football, national scene, national level, and more. D4 Land Services, what they do is kind of, land services. They really don't hide it from you. So if you need help getting your land fixed up, land cleared, land excavated, D4landservices.com. Forestry mulching, pond construction, D4landservices.com. It's the Louie Bellina Show, Monday on the Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
Home, road, or bowl, you can hear Aggie football on the Zone. The Zone.
The Louie Bellina Show, Monday. Louie Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric. Let's head back out. Let us hang out. Mitch Light of The Athletic. Mitch, taking a look at see, that's the thing. I'm rattled. I thought it was The Athletic, but the Stuart Mandel of The Athletic predictions SEC upcoming season. Are you buying and selling A&M at 8-4?
I think I would. I think I'd probably go 9-3, 6-3 in the league. But I think the skepticism. I think they're one of the teams with a high variance, and you could say that about a lot of teams. Obviously, there's a lot to like about this team, but there's legit concerns. I know it was a narrative that A&M fans got sick of last year, but the fact that they really did not play the top teams in the league, and then they closed the season not playing their best football, it's hard to ignore that. I'm curious about the offensive line. I know they did a good job bringing in veteran guys, SEC caliber starters in the portal, but we, can never just chalk that up into, okay, it's fixed or we've made those replacements there. Obviously, they've got a big-time receiver to replace. Love to see Reuben Owens. I remember, following his recruitment very close, a full healthy season, what he can do there. So they're one of those teams would not shock me at all if they returned to the playoff. Wouldn't shock me if they took a couple steps back. Marcel Reed's going to be one of the more scrutinized quarterbacks in the country this year. Was obviously a breakout last year. So long-winded way of saying I don't think 8-4 is crazy, but I'd probably say 9-3.
I will say I understand everything you said. You got to do it more than once to get the consideration that maybe other schools can get. And A&M's only done it once. If Elko does it back-to-back years, a lot of those questions that some have won't be asked again because you you earn the consideration. So you just got to do it more than once. If they go back to 10, they go back to the CFP, Elko will have bought, A&M will get consideration. You see some other schools, but you need to do it more than once, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's true. And I'd like to think that whether it's whoever's doing predictions, you like to evaluate every team on its strengths and weaknesses for the upcoming season, but it's impossible as a sports fan, in whatever sport you follow or cover, to just ignore past history, program DNA, and coaching, sustainability. That's why programs get the benefit of the doubt, and some fans of other schools get mad. We're seeing that erode at Alabama to a degree. Alabama's not in the top 10 this year. So it's not like people just, it's Alabama, they're going to be awesome. You need to prove one way or the other that you deserve to be, up there every year or deserve to be knocked down a peg. But to your point, yes, A&M does not have that track record of sustained consistency. I think we all believe in this coaching staff and what they've got going on there, but it's a tough league with tough teams, and you take a half a step back, that can mean 2 or 3 more losses.
Yep, and again, it'll be earned. So I don't overly stress. All off season long, I've expected Dan to be 8, 9, 10, and what were they 8 today in the AP? Coaches, I think, put them at 9, and I've seen other services say 10 and 11, and they'll end up like consensus 9.3 or something, and then you play the games, and it all takes care of itself.
Exactly. And, again, they're probably in that tier of teams. I'm looking at all the teams right now. You could probably say that about half the teams, swing of 3 or 4 wins, but you can find a reason to be intrigued about every team in the league, but they are in the top third of the league, in my opinion, because of the coaching staff outcome, because of their recent history, or their not even recent history of not being able to sustain success. If they can elbow their way into that group where they are a top 4 or 5 team in the league every year, that just makes life that much more difficult for the upper echelon of the league, if that makes sense.
According to Stuart Mandel, Texas, OU, Georgia, LSU are the 4 teams going to the playoff. I have 4 going to the CFP. I think the 9-team decision's a killer, at least until they expand. How many do you have? How many do you like that pool of 4? Do you have 4 different? Who do you have going this year?
Okay, I did a college football playoff prediction that we have not released yet. And
are you allowed to tell me then? Or are you breaking?
Well,
do you have like one of those non-disclosure agreements?
I don't know if I have the ability to tell you because I don't know if I remember. I did my predictions like 2 weeks ago. So if I were a good guess, I would have written them down. I think I had Texas. Okay, I think I had Texas, Georgia, Ole Miss, and I might have Texas A&M. I will find mine, and I will. We will talk about it next week. And we will talk about it next week. Here's one team that we have not mentioned that the more I look at them, the more I like, is Florida. I'm a big John Summerall fan. He's done it at 2 different schools. I think their talent is sneaky good. They kept a lot in the portal. They got maybe the best running back in the league. They got good wide receivers. And Buster Faulkner, the offensive coordinator from Georgia Tech, was very good. And Aaron Philo, who I think is going to win the job there, backed up former Aggie Haynes King. And whenever he came in, he was a big play guy. And now you got to do it as a starter, but he can, his average yards per play as a quarterback were really good. So I like Florida a lot this year.
I know they've gained a lot of momentum with each week since August has started.
They've been a good off-season team, put it that way.
Right, but if they finish at 8, I'm good with that. But are we talking about momentum towards 10? I mean, how far is their momentum going for you?
I would not be surprised if they made the playoffs.
Holy cow.
If they were my 4th playoff team.
That's a lot of mo, man. That's big mo.
I know. The big coaching upgrade. Again, retaining some talent, good running back, very good wide receivers. So we'll see. If they beat Texas last year, I think last year was a toxic year for them. Billy Napier was
toxic.
When you're in the hot seat basically for the 2nd straight season, and it's difficult in this era. It's always been difficult with a hot seat coach, but it's even more difficult now. To navigate a season like that. And again, Summerall he hasn't done it at the Power 4 level, but he took over a Troy team that had 3 straight losing seasons, and they were very good, and inherited Tulane, a good program from Willie Fritz, but got them to the playoffs. So there's a lot to like about that. Like, I think of the new coaches, not including Pete Golding, but of the Florida, Auburn, Arkansas new coach, they're all, talking to the same guys seemingly. Summerall would be clearly my number 1 guy in that of those 3 schools.
I saw Arkansas picked at 0-9, 2-10, and that's the norm. Like, I can't find one person to pick anything positive, optimistic, or hopeful for Arkansas? That's the one consensus, unanimous doomed team in the SEC this year.
Yeah, on paper, it's not great. Quarterback is a holdover, KJ Jackson, probably. You see your boy Chris Marshall had a big scrimmage the other day, former Aggie, but he's not been able to put it together in a whole year. As someone who's done predictions in the past, a lot of times what happens, and I'm not saying Arkansas doesn't deserve to be picked last or 0-9. It's like when you're doing these and you settle on your last place team, you just pick them to lose every game because then you can give teams ahead of them a win. You're trying to get as many teams to a bowl game or get that sixth win. So on paper, I think Arkansas is clearly number 16, and I'm not a huge Ryan Silverfield fan. Again, I thought was the quote-unquote worst or the least inspiring of the hires in the league. But it's a program that has had success in the past. They're not awful every year. So we'll see, but on paper, it's not great.
Real quick, before I let you roll, Mitch Light of The Athletic joining us on the D4 Land Services hotline here on the Louie Bellina Show, the Monday edition. What has been the top story of the offseason? Because I've had trouble trying to figure it out. Was it the Protect Act? Was it because it hasn't even been the CFP playoff. I mean, what has been, and I say offseason, summer, because you and I have been talking, as you mentioned before. What's been the top college football story?
Okay, on the show, whether it's the eligibility of 5 for 5, and not necessarily that ruling, but what's come about after that, guys trying to come back for a fifth year who were in an NFL training camp, and then the Protect College Sports Act, all the ebbs and flows of that. It's, I don't think any of us really like talking about that. It's hard to avoid talking about that. It's been a pretty quiet off the field. I mean, on the field, like there hasn't been a ton to talk about. Nothing, no late coaching change or anything like that. And there doesn't seem to be the dominant team on paper, as seen by all the different teams getting number one votes in these polls there. So we're all ready for some football. And as we've talked about through the years, as screwed up as the sport might be, once the games start on Saturdays, we love it, and it's as good as ever. And we're a few weeks away from that.
I'll tell you what, Mitch, we need a dynasty. And until we have any standardization and normalcy for like a 3-year stretch, we can't get it because everything changes each year. But I think we kind of need a dynasty.
Or a villain.
I volunteer for that. I've often said I believe in chaos. And if they need a villain, I, Louie Bellina, do hereby offer my services.
Okay, I'll start spreading the word that you're a bad guy. And you're
people. You know people.
Yeah. Texas Tech is a fun team to, not make fun of, but just a lot of people don't like what's going on, but they're not, until they become nationally relevant. I know they made the playoff, but they're not there yet if they get there. But yeah, I see your point. It's this is more fun to me, but maybe as the sport as a whole likes it, where every year we know that Alabama's going to be number one or Georgia for a few years. But it's different. It's a different way of life for us that follow the sport so closely.
Tech is more of an annoying chihuahua than an actual villain. I'll just say, remember Sorsby. Never forget.
I won't forget Sorsby, having to deal with it and edit stories about Sorsby. Won't forget him for a while.
The Mitch perspective. Dude, welcome back. Thank you always. You know I love talking ball with you, whether it's football, baseball. I look forward to our Mondays. Thank you so much.
All right. Always enjoy it. Talk next week. See you.
Be awesome, brother. Mitch Light of The Athletic on the D4 Land Services hotline. And we talk college like football, national scene, national level. Mitch and I, just Mondays. And we're getting ready. We're hanging out. Hope you're going to enjoy it. If you ever need a custom metal building, and like a custom metal building from the ground up, it's one of many things they do at D4 Land Services. And go find their website, and it's easy, d4landservices.com, d4landservices.com. This is the Louie Bellina Show, Monday on The Zone.
Listen to The Zone on the Zone app.
Download the app. Yeah.
Thanks to Loyalty Plumbing. The pros at Loyalty Plumbing are ready to serve you, Aggie Land.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Visit them. LoyaltyPlumbingLLC.net.
It is the Louie Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric. Residential, commercial, industrial services is what they do at CC Electric. It's the Louie Bellina Show. Halftime on a Monday. Halftime. What does that even mean? Well, we're halfway there. We're living on a prayer. I mean, we're 11-2. It's about 12:38. And what is up next? Olin Buchanan, Texags, inside the Charles Schwab studio. Now, you might be freaking out a little bit. Much respect. Olin is normally Tuesdays at 1, Tuesdays at 1. But we got that Aggie football fall camp. And the next 2 Tuesdays, tomorrow, a week from, they got practice, media. Olin has to work. So Olin's going to join me Mondays at 1 for the next 2 Mondays. And then we're back to normal. There you go. Write it down. Put it like Sharpie on your hand. Program it in your phone. So coming up next, 1 o'clock, Olin Buchanan inside the Charles Schwab studio. Low cost, full service, best of all local. That is Schwab, Charles Schwab. And how can they be best of all local? Because, like, I hear Charles Schwab, dead serious. I hear all those names. I'm thinking New York, LA, Chicago, all those financial centers and all. But with Charles Schwab, we have Mark Simone's right here in College Station. So you get to walk through the door, his office, sit down, shake his hand, look him in the eye. That's how I want to do business. Look him up online. Go get more info. Go get answers to your questions. Just learn more at schwab.com/College Station. We've been Maroon and White Notebook. We've been Aggie football. I mean, college, obviously, but also the pros. I want to go to the Diamond for a little bit. The weekend that was Astros Rangers. Astros won Friday. It was an awesome game. 10-7 in extras. 10-7 in 10. The Astros actually kind of set history for them. They had never scored like 5 or more runs in extra innings. They put up 5 in the bottom of the 10th. 5 in the bottom of the 10th. Why? Christian Walker, Skywalker, walk-off. Get a 2-run shot. It's a 3-run shot. My apologies. But it was a walk-off shot. They put up 5 in the bottom of. See, I wouldn't want to be you. Lambeau got the start, went 5-2. Right now, he's just one of only 2 starters. And Hunter Brown is kind of barely one of them that the Astros can count on. The Astros are cruising to a dub. Brian Abreu, I think I cursed him, jinxed him when I said he's officially back. He was awful, blew the save in the 8th. Hader still pitched the 9th in a non-save situation. Scary, ugly. He survived. I don't know why they bring in De Los Santos in high leverage, but okay. And he got the win despite giving up 2 runs in the top of the 10th. Only 1 was earned. So like I said, the Astros won Friday, but that was it. I think the Mariners own the Astros at this point. Saturday might have been exhibit A of everything that failed at the trade deadline because the Astros needed starting pitchers. Mind you, they have like 12. It's just that everyone they acquired in the offseason is a complete failure. Think about that. Everyone is basically an absolute failure. But Dana Brown said, hey, Wisniewski and Blanco are back. We don't have to acquire one. And really, look, I know he had to say that. That was the public cope for not getting someone at the trade deadline. So Wisniewski started and was horrible. He went 4 innings, gave up 5 runs. They had to yank him. So they brought in Blanco, who he is the long reliever right now. And Blanco went 4 innings, gave up 5 runs. So the 2 guys that were the answer to not having to acquire a starter at the trade deadline combined for 8 innings and 10 runs in the loss Saturday, 10-5. Astro baseball, when they score 5 runs or more, they need to be like a 90% win clip. That's just how this team is built. Nope. Vasquez went yard, hit a 6th. Paredes went yard, hit a 60. If they score 5 or more, they need to win at a 90% clip. But if you look at Saturday, those are the 2 players that were cited, 8 innings, 10 runs. And here's the thing. Maybe the sample size is too small, right? Nope. I'm just being honest. Nope. It just has not worked. Wisniewski, to be fair, has more good than bad, but he has so few innings that one bad can shape it all. But Ronel Blanco got sent down. He's going to be a starter down at AAA, and, basically at this point, you're looking at September call-up time when the rosters expand. It just hasn't been good. Blanco's having trouble with all his secondary pitches. He has a career 30% whiff rate. In his 5 appearances since coming back from the IL, 26. Very significant. And it's the secondary pitches. His whiff rate so far down. You take Jaime and Javier, these are all starters, and none of them can start. Jaime and Javier have combined for a 5.75 and 97 innings. Basically, the Astros have a 5-man rotation when they wanted 6, don't have enough starters for 5, let alone 6. And 2 of their 5 games are kind of bullpen games. And they already use their bullpen liberally in their other games. That's where they're kind of caught in a trap. Yeah, I'm not trying to go Elvis. So they lose Saturday. And then Sunday was a great game. But that was the one game the offense kind of didn't show up for. 3-2, Mariners take the dub. Hunter Brown goes 5-2, takes the loss. That's it. Josh Hader again throws non-save situation. He's brilliant. And the Astros lose the series. So what did the Rangers do over the weekend? I said when this 2-week stretch started for the Rangers, they were doomed because they were playing the worst teams in all of baseball. And and Rusty Burson taught me this, the Rangers only beat good teams. They can't beat bad teams. So they're in Sacramento, Oakland, Las Vegas to take on the A's. They lose Friday 8-3. Kumar Rocker gets the start. 5-3 is not awful, but the bullpen was atrocious Friday. 2 1/3, and you end up giving 5 runs. 2 1/3, 3, 5. I wasn't even counting, finally at the end, but awful. Rangers even the series 5-3 on a Saturday. Gore goes 5 2/3 and 3, almost a quality start, but at least he gets the dub. Latz gets his save. Sunday rubber game, 5-2 A's. And the bullpen bled to death in the end with 2 in the 7th, 1 in the 8th. So they lose a series to the freaking A's, man. So we look at the standings as we woke up this morning, right? Joe Sheehan last Tuesday, last week said, it could be, not going to say expect, but could be, that the winner of the AL West will have a below 500 record. Looky here. Houston's lost 2 straight. Texas has lost 1. There's not a single team in the AL West that has a winning record in their last 10 games. Astros 4-6, Rangers 4-6, Seattle's 3-7, A's are 4-6. That's how bad the division is right now. Sportsline projections. Houston has 81 wins. Texas 79. Oh, so bad. Yep, not a single team above 500 as we start a new week. Houston has a 2-game lead on the Rangers. Houston has a 4-game lead on the Mariners, who just took the series. And that's all we need. And now the Rangers are chasing Baltimore in the wild card race. It's bad. It is so. But, okay, can I ask a question for the Astro fans? Do you care? They're in first, 2-game lead. All that matters is make the playoff. Do you care? Just go, just make it. That's all that matters. Finally, wrapping up our MLB weekend that was, Power Rankings, CBS Sports. Even they got in on it. Because normally, they just have the power rankings, right? But here was the headline for this week. MLB Power Rankings. Are there any good teams in the American League? That period. And why is the AL West so bad? Astros 14, Rangers 16. That's all you need to know. When we come back, we wrap up the lunch hour of the Louie Bellina Show. Lunchtime is so thank you to Rudy's Barbecue.
You can hear Aggie football online at RadioAggieland.com.